The first aspect I consider when prompting for cinematic and realistic images in Midjourney is the camera angle and shot type. The camera angle sets a general mood and perspective for the scene. It's an essential part of photography that emphasizes the mood of an image. For portraits, the close-up shot will center and zoom in on the subject's face. It's the most common one I use when I want to show strong emotions or need extremely realistic details like facial wrinkles. The low-angle shot puts the camera below the subject, tilting upwards, and generally portrays a stronger, intimidating presence, making the subject look taller and bigger. The high-angle shot places the camera above the subject and tilts down. It usually portrays more vulnerable subjects and makes them look smaller and weaker. If you want to showcase more of the environment, use the wide-angle shot. It pulls the camera back and emphasizes the surroundings of the subject, like this icy landscape. Putting the keyword extreme in front of your camera angles exaggerates the effect. For example, extreme wide-angle shot gives you some amazing perspective on the landscape. There's plenty of other camera angles to try, like bird's eye view to fly above the subject, fisheye lens, which is an ultra-wide angle lens that produces visual distortion, or shot from behind to get the back of the subject. We can also combine multiple different camera shots to get unique images. For example, this image uses a wide-angle shot, low-angle shot, and shot from behind in the prompt. In the rest of this video, we'll cover other fundamental aspects of generating hyper-cinematic and realistic images, like color grading and lighting, the keys to structuring your prompts, and additional prompt keywords you want to consider, such as emotions, genres, styles, camera types, and more. This video will help you whether you want high-quality images for photography, 3D rendering, video generation, or anything else. In the world of cinema, color grading is a process of adjusting and enhancing the colors in an image to achieve a desired visual style. You manipulate attributes like hue, saturation, brightness, and contrast to create a distinctive stylized look and define the overall visual experience. Here are some basic color grading styles. Cool tone grading uses blue and gray hues for a serious and calm vibe. Warm tones highlights a yellow, orange, and brown color palette and feels more cozy and intimate. Black and white gives a classic and timeless look, and vintage tones or muted colors provides a retro style. These vintage colors are my personal favorites when creating images. Recently I created a few AI short films. For one of them, I wanted a futuristic Blade Runner vibe, so I generated images with purple and blue, vintage muted color tones. The other AI cinematic was about the Roman Empire. I wanted to produce that dark and serious gladiator look that's so typical in TV shows about Rome, so I used muted color tones, dark blue and mahogany. You can use popular film aesthetics like desaturated colors, which is gritty and used for more serious or hopeless situations, or use the extremely popular pastel colors, which emphasizes baby blues and light pinks and greens and appears lighthearted and playful.
Hi there, how you doing?
I am wonderful.
Lighting is crucial in film and photography as it dictates how subjects and scenes are perceived by the viewer. Well-planned lighting enhances details and texture while also shaping the mood and atmosphere of a frame. It can make or break an image, but is actually one of the hardest components to control in Midjourney. To start simple, we can try out different times of day. As we move throughout the day, from morning, noon, sunset, to nighttime, we see the light cycle with the sun. The best daytime keyword to try is golden hour, which is considered the best time of day to shoot photographs due to the soft, warm light that gives your images a golden, glowing effect. Midjourney is especially well tuned to generating extra photogenic images during golden hour. You can also try different weather conditions to adjust the lighting. Here's a comparison between sunny, overcast, or foggy weather. Use the term natural lighting as a generic but effective keyword to enhance your images with a touch of sunlight. I like to place the lighting in different areas. This is tricky, but light from behind tends to work pretty well and places the light source behind the subject. Silhouette lighting also puts the light behind, but also removes all lighting sources from the front, so you just get a dark figure with a bright outline around the silhouette. A personal favorite is to project light through glass or a window. I also throw on the phrase, shadows on face. I think this is one of the best photography aesthetics that feels stylish, thought-provoking, and personal. You can add in color effects with the most obvious one being neon, but you can also use blacklight to get a similar cyberpunk effect. A cool keyword I discovered is white light, which shoots these angled light rays and can sometimes generate a smoky effect. You'll get the best lighting effects by combining multiple keywords together. Let's prompt for photo of a woman, fiery smoke all around her, silhouette lighting and side lighting, volumetric lighting, light rays, sparks, orange and teal light. That's quite a handful to say, but the result turned out pretty nicely. There's tons of different lighting styles to try out, so don't be afraid to experiment to see what you come up with. At this point in the video, you're probably wondering, but Tal, how come you haven't given a prompt template like this one? That's a good question. You see, word order matters in Midjourney. A lot. Let's use that prompt template and fill it in. We'll generate a photo of an intimidating German barbarian warrior and place the camera at a low angle view so we're looking upwards. That's not really what I expected. I wanted something that looks more like this. In Midjourney, words closer to the front of the prompt will be considered more important by the AI model. So if we move the keyword low angle view to the beginning of the prompt, now we get a much more dynamic shot, tilting the camera upwards and making the subject appear strong and powerful. This is also true for everything else. Here we ask for red color tones near the beginning of our prompt, and look how vibrant and dominant that color is. If we move it to the end of the prompt, however, the color is still present but much more subtle. A quick tip about colors you have to know. When prompting for colors and items of clothing, you need to place larger items of clothing first. For example, let's generate a man in a khaki blazer, a blue shirt, and a pink tie. Alright, looks stylish. But what if we switch up the order of items in our prompt and ask for a pink tie, a blue shirt, and a khaki blazer? Everything got messed up. The entire blazer and suit is pink now because we put the color phrase pink earlier in our prompt, so it became weighted more heavily by the AI. Since word order matters so much, I won't give you a prompt template to follow because ultimately, you'll need to decide which elements you want to highlight the most. I frequently need to shift keywords around to get the desired effects on my Midjourney images. However, some common elements you may want to include in your prompts would be the subject matter, camera angle, color grading, lighting, genre, style, and camera type. Personally, I found what usually works best is putting the subject matter and camera angle towards the beginning of the prompt, and the color and camera types towards the end, with style, lighting, and genre keywords filling out the middle. But don't forget that you can always move keywords around if you want them to be emphasized more or less. I also throw in some extra words like cinematic, dramatic, or highly detailed depending on what I'm going for. Let's talk about styling for a minute. Once you have your main subject and fundamentals down, it's important to add more flair to your images. You can make an immediate impact by prompting for different movie genres. Some common ones include horror, fantasy, sci-fi, indie, or western. One that I particularly enjoy is dystopian futuristic films, similar to The Matrix or Blade Runner. Adding in famous directors' names can add an additional layer of style, such as Quentin Tarantino for something that's more pop culture, or Wes Anderson, who's known for using the pastel color palette with retro film aesthetics. Using the phrases core and punk after style keywords is another trick I like to use. Cyberpunk, space punk, steampunk. These are just some basic examples. Let's try prompting for different colors. Green core, blue core, yellow core. It's always fun to see the different types of visuals Midjourney associates with different colors. It's important to introduce some emotion to your characters, since Midjourney's default character expressions are limited to ranging from neutral blank expressions to slightly happy, which is repetitive. Some expressions to try out include happy, somber, tired, or scared. Now I've gotten quite a few comments asking about the problem that many Midjourney images appear to be obviously AI generated and how to get more realistic shots. If you follow the tips I've already given in this video about changing the camera angle and color grading, that should help make your images much more realistic. But something else to consider is the camera type that your image was shot on, which produces a huge difference in the realism of your image. Why not try a Polaroid camera to get something that looks more relatable and down to earth? Or try a disposable camera. Of course, you could always upgrade and get an iPhone. Now as far as camera lens and film is concerned, I'm not an expert, but if you add in the phrase 35mm or 55mm towards the end of your prompt, it helps with generating images with a realistic photography look instead of the generic AI feel to them. That's the focal length, which controls how much field of view a camera has in real life, but can be used as a keyword in Midjourney to prompt for realistic photographs. Camera film stock, which is a physical material used to capture images, also can make your images more cinematic when used as keywords. A few brands I like to use include Kodak Portra, which is great for portraits, SingStill, which is extremely cinematic, or Lomography to get some imperfect yet unique images. Here's a couple others you may want to try out, although I haven't noticed that much of a difference in them. When it comes to parameters, here's a few to consider. Midjourney by default generates square images with a 1:1 aspect ratio. If you want to generate more cinematic images, try to make them wider by using the 16:9 aspect ratio, which is a default for a monitor or TV screen, or stretch out your image even more. Here's a 5:2 aspect ratio that produces a scenic panorama of an icy landscape. For stylization, I find that a medium style value of 250 works best for me to get a balance between creativity in my images and realism. Most of the change in the amount of stylization happens between 0 to 250, and increasing the stylization amount to 500 or 1000 won't add that much more to the image. Although you should try this out for yourself to find which values you like most. If you have trouble getting the image to follow your prompt, use the raw style to get images to interpret your words more directly. Here are some images where I prompted for hybrids of animals. It was hard to get the AI to understand exactly what I wanted, so I used raw mode and the results turned out pretty well. So I've covered what I've learned about prompting for cinematic and realistic images from a lot of trial and error. I hope this helps. If you want to stay updated on the latest Midjourney features, make sure to subscribe. And don't forget to check out my other tutorials.